Hi, this is Joan Michelson of Green Connections. I'm here at the Verge San Francisco 2013 conference with Michael Tinsky of Ford Motor Vehicles and your Associate Director of Vehicle Electrification and Infrastructure.
That's right.
Which comes first, the vehicle electrification or the infrastructure?
The chicken or the egg question, right? I think they both have to come at the same time. The benefits that electric vehicles have is that most customers are charging them at home. And so they already have for many of the vehicles, they already have the infrastructure. They can charge using a standard outlet, or if they prefer to get a faster charge, they can put a charge station at their home. So infrastructure is really an easier one to get to because most customers are doing that at home.
Yeah, but a lot of people, full disclosure, I spent a few years in the electric car business for one of your competitors, by the way. And people don't perceive it as convenient. They know they can charge at home, but because people are away from home so often, that unless they can charge it in their parking lot at work, or one of the things that we did was we helped shopping centers put in charging stations, etc. People still, the consumer still, the car buyer, the Ford buyer, still perceives that it's not convenient, that we need, until I can find a charging station on every corner like I can a gas station, I'm nervous about it.
Right. Well, we're really bullish on what we call plug-in hybrids. So plug-in hybrids offer you the ability to drive most of your work week miles in electric mode. And then if you have a longer distance to go, you can use your gasoline for going on weekend trips, what have you. And you hit the nail on the head relative to where we're seeing the next trend in infrastructure, and that's corporate campuses. We're seeing many corporate campuses, including our own, actually looking at infrastructure as being a new employee benefit, so they're not charging for it. And so they can charge at home, drive to work, charge at work, and essentially Monday through Friday, it's all electric.
And they get preferential parking and things like that too.
Well, that's one thing we're trying to find the right balance, right? Because you don't want to put all the best spots, but at the same time, you don't want your installation cost to be too high. So we're finding the average spots, and that's where we're installing our electrified charge.
What about shopping centers? Some of the shopping centers that I would talk to are already talking about giving them, we're talking pennies.
That's right.
So it's not like it's a big cost factor.
That's right.
But the truth is that in a world where we have, I forget the exact number, but millions and millions of cars on the road worldwide, only a very small fraction, it's trending up, but only still a very small fraction. I think it's like 1% are electric or even hybrids.
That's right.
So what is it going to take to, we talk about it sometimes as if the moment is here, but mass adoption is not here. The ICE is still running the day.
Yeah, and it will be for some time. In fact, we like to call it measured growth. So the statistic I like to use is the first hybrid that we introduced was in 2004, and that was the Ford Hybrid Escape. It took us until about 2011 for us to get to 2% of our sales to be hybrid. So it almost took 8 years to get that 2%. But the next 2%, which we reached in October of 2012, only took just over a year. So you're right. Percentage-wise, we're running for hybrids, plug-ins, we're running at just over 4%. The industry is. So you're right. It's small, but it's growing. And then to your other point about the retail outlets and corporate campuses, that's really where there's a huge opportunity, because I'll give you an example. At Ford, it costs us about 50 or 60 cents to recharge an employee's car.
For how long a period of time?
So it's about 2.5 hours if their battery is fully depleted. But we just avoided potentially that employee having to use a half a gallon of gas.
Well, that's true, but by the way, most electric cars take a lot longer than 2.5 hours to recharge from fully depleted.
Well, the example I was giving you is a plug-in hybrid. So it's about an 8 kilowatt hour battery, and that's about how long it takes.
It's not a fully electric.
That's right. And our full electric, by the way, is just over 3 hours because we have a really big charger on board.
Fast charger.
It's a 6.6 kilowatt charger. So I think the point I was going to make is that the cost to the company to offer this as a free benefit is only 50 or 60 cents in this example.
Minuscule.
But the employee is receiving about a half a gallon gas worth of offset, but not having to burn a half a gallon of gas.
See. Okay.
So that's a $2 benefit. So there's a way of offering a new benefit that's not necessarily very expensive.
It's a cost-effective perk.
Exactly.
What is it going to take to have electric vehicles or I guess I should say alternative fuel vehicles, because we're also looking at hydrogen
That's
fuel
right.
and fuel cells, et cetera. So what is it going to take to have, flip the numbers, to have the internal combustion engine, the ICE, be the smaller percentage, and have the higher percentage be vehicles that run on alternative fuels? What's that going to?
Yeah, I wish I had a crystal ball, but I'll say this: we're on our third generation of hybrids, and we're actually seeing the plug-in hybrid becoming more battery electric like every generation. So if you look at the size of the engine that was in our first hybrid,
Yeah.
it was a 3-liter, and then we went to a 2.5 liter,
Oh, I see.
and then we went to a 2-liter. So the engines are getting smaller and smaller, and the batteries are getting bigger and bigger, or more powerful, not necessarily
Okay, I was
physical
going to
battery.
say, yeah, we don't want them necessarily bigger. That takes
That's
up
right.
too much weight, et cetera.
And so I expect that trend to continue, especially with battery technology. And what we're likely going to see is the engine becoming used less and less, and the battery be more powerful.
Who is buying the electric cars and the plug-in hybrids mostly? What's the customer profile?
It's all over the map. It's a lot of different age groups. Tends to be a lot of early adopters. We're on our 2 higher volume products, which is the Fusion Energy and the C-Max Energy. For the Fusion Energy, we're seeing a lot of people that are gravitating to the high design and style.
Men, women,
both.
income brackets. I mean, do you have percentages of these?
Yep. So we've got on the C-Max Energy, which is our other plug-in hybrid. We're finding that most of them are optimizers. We like to use the term optimizer. It's the customer that really wants on the fuel efficiency.
Oh, they want the biggest bang for their buck.
That's right. And that price point is very reasonable.
And is that usually a man or a woman, or is there an age group on this? Is it usually a?
No, that's the statistics and demographics are really all over the map.
Really, an
In
equal
fact,
factor.
Yeah, you know what? The one interesting statistic that I find interesting is the conquest rate. So this is customers are coming from other brands,
Right.
And our conquest rate for our electrified products is 65%. So 65% of the customers are coming from other brands.
Wow, 65% of the customers for your plug-in hybrids are
And
in
hybrids.
effect switching from a previous brand loyalty to the Ford brand
correct.
loyalty. Is that, what do you attribute that to?
Great product.
Oh,
No,
I mean, it could be the advertising. It
you
could
know,
be Mike, whatever his name is,
Yeah.
who does Dirty Jobs
That's right,
show,
that's funny.
who does your ads, or the woman that he talks to with the Ford.
I can tell you my personal. I don't know the answer. My personal opinion
Good,
is
I like a man who says I don't know.
is they're highly styled vehicles, and so I think we're shifting from maybe what may have not been highly styled vehicles and energy efficient vehicles
Right.
to what we call highly styled, that are people really like the looks of the Fusion and our other products, and I think that's drawing people into the brand.
Well, there's also a feeling that behavioral economics is peer pressure, and the nudge thing, and there's a lot of press about like shows like this where sustainability is in and it's cool to be this. But I also know that there are some people who drive hybrids who, if they're in a hybrid SUV, for example, they still get pelted because people just don't think of an SUV as a hybrid. To me, it's an oxymoron, but that's another topic. So how much of it is that? How much of it is peer pressure? How much of it is kids pressure? The kid comes home from school or you drop them off at school and they go, Dad, drop me off down the block because I don't want anybody to see you, pulling up an XYZ car, which I've also heard happen.
I hope it's all of those, but the answer.
It doesn't matter as long as they're buying your cars, right?
I wish I could have a better answer, but one of the things that maybe that goes against maybe some of that is that if they were doing it for image, they wouldn't be charging, and our data is showing that these customers are charging every night.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, right, because if it
and
was
they're
image,
being responsible about maintaining the
right,
car. That's
right.
very interesting.
So we're seeing them charge on average about 7 times a week.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's once a day.
Which is once a day. So we're.
What's your biggest challenge right now? In terms, you're vehicle electrification and infrastructure. So
it boils down to cost, and we're working hard to get the cost of these products
Of a car itself.
of the car themselves. I mean, we're working on a lot of things, right? Not only the cost of the products, but also the cost of driving, meaning the electric energy, how much
Right.
it costs, and new ways of working with utilities to get that cost and charging low cost off-peak rates and those kind of things. So anywhere we can, we're looking for to get the ability to get the product in lower cost.
Just real quickly, do you sell chargers too?
We do. Well, we offer them through our dealers, and we have, in terms of a charger, a third
partner,
party.
yeah.
And what we've really done there, and we've changed, is our new process is you only have to take one day off of work to meet the person there. The electrician comes out, they have the product, they give you the quote on the site. You like it, you agree with the quote,
Cool.
it's installed and permitted
Great.
and all in one
Great.
stop.
Well,
So-
Michael Tinsky, Associate Director of Vehicle Electrification and Infrastructure, which does not roll off my tongue gracefully,
Or mine.
of Ford Motor Company. Thank you so much for joining
Thank you.
us at Studio C. Again, I'm Joan Michelson of Green Connections at the Verge San Francisco 2013 conference from beautiful downtown San Francisco. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks.